my videos at all, both of you, you may know that about a month ago we had a flood in the middle of the night. The fresh water line supplying one of the toilets burst, ran for who knows how long, flooded much of the house, and now everything is torn up. For a couple of weeks we had no toilets in the house. We have one temporarily. Flooring is torn up. There are holes in the walls. It's a mess. It's a mess. And they haven't started work yet to rehabilitate the place. And it's been, again, coming up on close to a month now since this happened. So it's been a bit of a, I don't know, can you spell bummer? People sympathize with you. You go, oh, you got water in the house? That's terrible. That's terrible. And it is. And it ain't. Because maybe it's not one of the big terrible things of the world. Now, this is not, for those of you in the South, this is not your Houston or New Orleans bayou flood sort of thing where this muddy water mixed with who knows what and cottonmouth snakes all come floating into your house. This was clean, fresh Colorado River water shooting out of the pipe into our house. It flowed all over and the drywall got very wet. The flooring has to go and all of that. For a week and a half, we had a very expensive, no doubt, array of industrial fans and dehumidifiers in here running 24 hours a day. At the time, I said, I want to know what that does to my electric bill. Well, I got the electric bill today for that period. It pretty much tripled it. Yeah, so, it's like using 2-3 months worth of electricity in 1 week or so. And during that time, it sounded like an Apache helicopter was warming up in the hallway. So it has been, as I said there, kind of a bummer. And again, people sympathize. Oh, it's so bad. And I really had to start thinking about this because today, again, I was sitting there feeling kind of depressed. It's like, I'm tired of this stuff. I'm tired of the torn up floors and the torn up walls. And, I miss my bed. And I'm reminded, as I have been in the past, of the expression that's spoken many different ways. I've heard it as, I was sad because I had no shoes, and then I met a man who had no feet. Helen Keller is said to have said, wait a minute, Helen Keller couldn't say, could she? Oh well. Somehow Helen Keller is credited with saying, I cried because I had no shoes, and then I came across a man who had no feet. I thought it might be biblical, but it's not. It seems to trace back to a Persian writer many, many years ago in the year 1200 or so. I think the first time it really had meaning for me was during the El Nino of 1997-98. I was living on a beautiful old wooden sailboat that had, well, one big problem. The cabin top leaked. El Nino is like the rainy winters in California. So, I had the roof dripping in my little tiny sailboat. It was a beautiful place inside with the mahogany wood. It was built in Holland, but it leaked, and that was cold. And I was working for a morning radio show then. I had to be to work at 5 o'clock in the morning, so I got up about 3:30 on my cold boat. I had a little tiny electric heater. I was at a dock across from the San Diego airport, so I had electricity, but, I was feeling bad for myself because there were some things going on in my personal life on top of being cold and wet.
I'm wet! I'm wet! I'm hysterical and I'm wet!
At the radio station one day, a guy came in to be interviewed to tell his story about apparently riding a motorcycle all the way around the world. Me, I'm just feeling bad about myself. So I meet this guy who's riding all the way around the world and chatting with him in the parking lot as we're both leaving after the show was over. Turned out the guy only has, he doesn't have any legs. He has no feet, he has no legs. He's got 2 artificial legs. I'm living on a yacht in San Diego. There's a guy with no legs. He's going to go ride a motorcycle around the world. I was sad because I had a leaky boat, and then I met a man who had no legs. I got to kind of remind myself of that. I guess it's the count your blessings thing. Looking at a flooded house. And this happened to us before a burst water line, about 6-7 years ago. So I've been through it. It's a pain. It's difficult. But you know what? There's a light at the end of the tunnel. This is going to pass. I'm like, a lot of things that we come across in life. A lot of things are just going to be there forever. We have to learn to cope with them. This eventually will be done. And you know what? We'll have new flooring, we'll have new paint jobs on the walls, and the whole house will be spiffed up a lot because of this tragedy. I guess it's hard to call it a tragedy when it's going to, make your lot better. Aren't there some sayings about that? Whatever. That which doesn't kill you makes you stronger. Nah, that's not true anyway. The next time you feel like that, oh, woe is me, look around. Check out your fellow mankind, your fellow womankind, and your fellow, still trying to decide kind. There's probably always somebody who's got it worse than you. And, you don't revel in that, but I think you could take some comfort in that, really, things could be worse. This is the advice from your mom, It's like, here's some advice for life. Things could be worse.